Hello everyone. Tonight we're just waiting 5 minutes. Go get yourself a cup of coffee. Mine is ready and ready to go. I'm looking forward to sharing the stage with you. Hey, even Polkit is ready. Just waiting for people to come into the room and just enjoy the music while we wait until 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight. We have the one and only Volker in here. And as we wait for more people joining in and coming in, tonight's talk is going to be special. Volker is a qualified and passionate transformation facilitator with over a decade of experience. He specializes in a range of modalities and interventions that inspire and empower heartfelt potential and positive change. Tonight's talk is about tuning your frequency for success. It's about how you can create more success in the different areas of your life. One answer lies in understanding what success looks like and where it derives from at the level of energy. Quantum science has long established that everything in our three-dimensional reality is energy vibrating at a different frequency. Success too has its own energetic frequency or blueprint. And this talk is about how you can harness that energy of success to create what you want in your life. Discussed points is the power of impact of emotion, the emotional frequencies come, the positive intention of negative emotions, and how to redirect your power to create what you want, the path of natural success. Now, I'm so glad to see we have people here tonight from Bethel, somewhere in South Africa, Cape Town, Pretoria, Cape Town, even from Toronto, Canada. Man, Andrew, welcome here. I'm going to come visit you. I'm planning to immigrate to Canada. So hopefully see you one day. Anita from Cape Town, Bruce, Durban, Centurion, Cape Town. Wow, Cape Town, Johannesburg, yes. And Rockyo from, it says United States, but I think I saw somewhere, you say you're from Puerto Rico. Yes, happy to be having you here. More Cape Towns. Durban is here as well. Pretoria is here. Mokopane is here. Man, we have people from all over the world. And we're looking forward to Charles Volker's talk tonight. You can see I had too many speakers to introduce. Volker, thank you for having you. The floor is yours.
Oh, thank you, brother. And thank you, Quibus, for all that you've been doing for us behind the scenes, tirelessly behind the scenes, setting everything up for us as we come to the end of an amazing summit. I have so much gratitude and respect for you, brother. And thank you to all those who are participating and joining us this evening. It's really, really great to have you sharing the stage with me this evening on this, what is in Cape Town, a very, very cold Thursday evening. So I'm hoping to warm things up and to share some value with you this evening. I'm going to jump straight in because last week I sort of just about ran out of time. So I want to make sure I can get through everything. So I'm going to get my presentation up onto the screen, and then we are going to rock and roll. There we go. Fantastic. So thank you all for joining us. My talk this evening is titled Tuning Your Frequency for Success. It actually, in a way, it's quite complementary to the talk that I did last week, which was about reclaiming our genius. But this focuses a little bit more on how to reclaim that genius. Not so much on how we lose it, but how we go about actually reconnecting with it and reclaiming our success, or tuning in to the frequency of success in the different areas of our life. And I'd like to start off by maybe just asking the question, a very obvious question: why aren't we all successful? What is it that separates different levels of success, that separates a successful person from an unsuccessful person? We could ask the question, is it potential? Is it maybe circumstance? Is it intellect, intelligence? Well, it's not potential. What we discovered last week in the talk that I did, the research has been done to show that we are all born into creative genius. By the age of 5, 98% of us are still functioning at creative genius level. So we all have loads of potential, more than enough to be successful. Could it perhaps be circumstance that separates us in terms of our success? Well, I don't think so. I can give you a list of 25 billionaires that grew up dirt poor. And very similarly, I can give you a list of over 25 people who are currently dirt poor who grew up in very wealthy households. We can simply look at the COVID epidemic, which has had a massive financial impact on the world. So many people have lost their businesses, have lost money, have lost a lot of essential resources. And yet, in amidst that chaos, there are people that have actually seen opportunity and created massive success and abundance. So, yes, circumstance does play a role, but not in terms of preventing your long-term success. Circumstance plays a temporary role. And yes, some have a bit more of a challenging time than others. But ultimately, it's not circumstance that's preventing you from being successful. If you're watching this right now, you already have enough resources to really get things moving along. So what is it? Could it be our intelligence? Maybe you need a certain IQ to be intelligent. Well, it's not that either. Let's look at one of Einstein's well-known quotes. Everybody is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. You see, one of the biggest mistakes, one of many mistakes in our education system, one of the big flaws, is judging everyone's intelligence according to an IQ test. There are many different types of intelligence. According to Howard Gardner, a professor of education at Harvard University, who has done extensive research into this exact area, he identified that there are at least 9 different types of intelligence. We've got musical intelligence, logical, mathematical, naturalist intelligence, which is being smart in terms of connecting into nature, interpersonal intelligence, existential intelligence, verbal linguistic, bodily kinesthetic, visual spatial, interpersonal. So it's not that we're lacking in intelligence. It's simply that we all express our intelligence in our own unique way. So we all do have loads of intelligence. So what is it then that is preventing some of us from becoming successful when others are doing so well? Basically, we can look at neuroscience for the answer. I like to back my information up with credible statistics and research. So if we look at what science is actually showing us, science is showing us that 95% of cognitive activity is beyond conscious awareness. 95% of cognitive activity is beyond conscious awareness. Our brain is processing 400 billion bits of information every second. All that information is being stored somewhere in our internal filing system, yet we are only consciously aware of 2,000 of those 400 billion bits of information. So one of the main things that is preventing many people from achieving success is that they are trying to achieve success in that realm of the 5%. In other words, they are trying to change behavior at the behavioral level, completely unaware that what is actually driving their choices and their ability to achieve success is the 95% that is sitting in the subconscious. Basically, the way it works is when you're born, right? You are born with limitless potential. You are born, as we spoke about last week, in your pretty much connected to your superconscious state of awareness, in your superconscious ability to connect into the highest realms of potential. So there's nothing you cannot achieve when you are born. But then, of course, we experience our conditioning and we start to pick up limiting beliefs, which completely impacts who we actually are and what we're able to achieve as we grow up. So if we start looking at how this 95% impacts the 5%, we can basically, again, just follow what the neuroscience is showing us. So if you want to achieve a different success or a different outcome in your life, a different level of success, that would obviously require you to make different choices. right? It stands to reason that if you want to change something in your life, you've got to choose differently, make a different choice. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So yes, we've got to make different choices to achieve different outcomes. But what is impacting our choices? Basically, what's impacting our choices is our thoughts. Okay? How we think or what we think impacts the choices we make. So many of us are sitting at this level. This is the 5% conscious awareness. We are sitting here with our monkey minds, trying to figure things out, trying to change something in our external environment. And basically, what I can tell you is that you might want more money in your life. You might want a better relationship. You might want a new business, a new purpose, or a renewed purpose. You might want to feel happier, whatever success might be for you. But I can guarantee you now, you will not achieve any of those things if your subconscious programming is conditioned against it, because of the limiting beliefs that we have picked up through that childhood wounding in those first 5 to 7 years of our life. It is a natural part of nature. It is a natural part of nature's defense for newborn babies to have to learn very, very quickly. When an antelope is giving birth out in the wild, as soon as that young calf drops out, it is immediately already trying to stand up, orientate itself, and learn from its environment. And it has to do so very, very quickly in order for it to survive. Human babies are not that different. Okay, so in the first 7 years of a human baby's life, our brainwave function, the brainwave cycle, is predominantly functioning between alpha and theta. So that is the same brainwave cycle as someone who is under hypnosis. We are absorbing information like a sponge in those first 7 years because, again, it's part of nature to have to learn very quickly from our environment. But what that results in, of course, is we absorb everything. So we start absorbing our father's business struggles and the money beliefs that we get taught by our caregivers. We start to learn about the reality of relationships in those strained relationships. Some of us come from divorced households, so we've all come from an environment which hasn't been perfect. There's been certain challenges, but that gets absorbed and locked into our subconscious programming. So we really need to start looking at what is sitting in the subconscious, what is actually driving our behavior. And I can guarantee you now that if you are sitting there trying to change your behavior at a behavioral level, you're not going anywhere because there's a tidal wave of resistance potentially sabotaging all your efforts. Okay, so back to the flow. We want different results. We need to start making different choices. What's controlling our choices? Our thoughts. So what is impacting our thoughts? Our thoughts are being impacted by our feelings. Okay, the quality of our feelings impacts the quality of our thoughts, our choices, and our outcomes. So thoughts and feelings actually impact each other. All right. In other words, you can have a certain thought which can impact your feelings, and then you can have a particular feeling that can impact your thoughts. But it is predominantly the quality of your feelings that impact your thoughts. So now we ask the question, what is controlling our feelings? And what is controlling our feelings are our emotions. Okay, impacting our feelings are those emotions. And many of you might be asking the question, well, aren't feelings and emotions the same thing? And yes, they are used interchangeably, but they're not the same thing. Emotions are the instinctual automatic response to a particular trigger, which then usually also results in a chemical release into the body. Okay, so emotions are experienced outside of your conscious control. If you are walking in the bush and a lion comes jumping out at you, You don't think yourself into a fearful state. You just suddenly feel terror. Okay, it happens very instinctively. So the lion jumping out of the bush triggers the emotion of fear, which in turn stimulates your sympathetic nervous system, pumping you full of adrenaline and preparing you to defend yourself. Feelings, on the other hand, are shaped largely by your past experiences, your personality, and the emotions that are moving through you. So you can see emotion as the raw kind of energy, and then it is interpreted and integrated as feelings. All right. And then, of course, at the very base, at the bottom of it all, at the foundation, we've got the physiology, which incorporates your emotions. So I like to call it the energetic blueprint. And your physiology basically incorporates your, as I said, your emotions, your organs, the coherence and incoherence of how the organs are functioning together, your cells, your cellular memory, and those 400 billion bits of information that are being stored are all being stored in that physiology, in that internal filing system. So we can look at the physiology, right? Your energetic blueprint with your emotions as being the main influence in terms of how you feel, which in turn is the main influence in terms of the quality of your thinking, the choices you make, and your outcomes. So we can see through this example that by impacting our energetic blueprint, or by focusing on the energetic blueprint and creating the shift at that level, that is ultimately what's going to impact your outcomes. Most of us have been conditioned to change something outside of ourselves in order to feel differently. In other words, we are using the outside-in approach, right? I'm feeling empty, or I'm feeling dissatisfied, or I'm feeling bored, or I'm feeling something that I don't want to feel, and then I'm looking outside of myself. What can I change, influence, or manipulate in my external environment so that I can experience the change that I want to feel, all right? That is that person that is trying to change their life by focusing purely on that 5% of their conscious awareness, keeping their focus in the external environment, usually very much in a reactive mode, reacting to what's happening to them, which often has people feeling like they're victims in their own lives, okay, because they don't have control of what's happening, of what's coming at them. We need to understand that success is an inside-out process. You've got to make the change inside before you're going to experience it in your external environments. We need to shift the physiology. We need to shift the energy moving through us. We need to shift our emotions so that we can then improve the quality of our feelings, thoughts, choices, and outcomes. Carl Jung, I love this quote. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. We need to become aware of what's in our physiology. We need to become aware of our emotional state of well-being or dis-ease. And more importantly, we need to start creating the shift at that stage, or at that level, should I say. So now that we're aware that our physiology and our emotions play such a big role in terms of the outcomes we achieve and the level of success we achieve, it's important that we now take a closer look at the power of emotion and how emotion actually impacts our ability to achieve success. We are born into this world to experience life, to have experiences. And we are also here to feel our full range of emotions, okay? We can't avoid pain. We can't avoid loss. So yes, we are yet to experience love, joy. We are also yet to experience our grief and our sadness and anger and pain. It's part of being human. It's part of life, okay? But emotion is meant to flow. It's emotion. Think of emotion as E-dash motion. It's energy in motion, and it's meant to be flowing. So if you imagine a buck in the wild, let's go back to nature, because we are part of nature. So it's beautiful to reference nature and what's happening when nature is undisturbed and how it relates to us. When an antelope in the wild gets chased by a lion, when that antelope, or if that antelope is fortunate enough to escape the lion, what will happen for the next 60 minutes or so is that antelope will tremor. Tremor or tremoring is an involuntary shaking of muscles within the body. And what that tremoring is doing for that antelope is it is instinctively releasing the trauma and the emotion of the experience so that it can return to its natural state of harmony in terms of the energetic blueprints of that particular antelope. 2 hours later, it's grazing as if the experience never happened. It doesn't accumulate and suppress and hold on to stuff, okay? And human beings are meant to be experiencing life in the same way. We have an experience, and the energy of that experience or the emotion of that experience is meant to move through us. So this is pretty much what happens, right? When we have an emotional experience, what happens is it creates a mood or a feeling, okay? Feeling and a mood. It's meant to be a temporary experience. We are meant to have the experience, feel the feeling, and then move on, all right? Obviously, if we have a particularly significant or traumatic experience, if we've lost a loved one, we're not just going to suddenly get over it after a couple of hours or a couple of days. 15 years later, if you think about that loss, you are still going to feel the sadness of the loss. But we're talking about the core emotion. The core emotion releases within a couple of days if you were to truly allow yourself to mourn that loss properly, okay? If we hold on to emotion, in other words, if we have been conditioned to suppress our emotions, if we hold on to resentment, if we become bitter and twisted about things and we don't want to let something go, or if we don't allow ourselves to process our emotions properly, what happens is that mood turns into a temperament. Because we're now holding onto this emotion, it becomes a temperament. It leads to fixed behavior and repetitive behavior influenced by the emotional state of your energetic blueprint. And if we continue to hold onto it, what will eventually happen over a few years, it actually becomes a personality trait. It actually becomes part of your identity, part of who you are. All right. I'm going to give you a simple analogy to make this very, very clear for you. Imagine that you are clear, sort of perfectly flowing natural spring water. So this is just an analogy to describe your energetic blueprints in its natural flowing state prior to any conditioning. So we are born into this earth in our creative genius, and we are connected into our superconscious. We are connected into the highest realms of awareness and crystal clear flowing energy. All right, we have an experience, and what happens is every time we have an experience, the experience shows up and it has two parts to it. The experience has the memory, which is the story of the event that you experienced, and it has the equivalent energy or the emotion. So we have an experience, and we have a memory that gets stored in the body, and we have an emotion that lands up in the body. So with every experience, there's an imprint happening in our emotional blueprints or our energetic blueprints. That energy, as I said, is meant to flow through us. Like the buck that escapes the lion, it tremors and releases the energy. If we start to suppress our emotions and we don't feel them fully, what happens, if you imagine that beautiful spring water flowing, is we start to accumulate ice blocks in our flow. Because in our natural flow state, we are actually vibrating at a very high frequency. In our natural undisturbed flow state, and I'm going to show this to you in a moment, we are vibrating at the frequency of unconditional love, because we haven't been conditioned to judge anything. We haven't been conditioned to analyze, rationalize, compartmentalize. We are just one with everything. We are one with nature in this beautiful flow state. The minute we start to suppress our emotions, we start to lower our vibration. Okay? It's like getting blocks of ice in your flowing water, because emotion actually carries frequency. Each emotion has its own frequency. To illustrate this for you, we can have a look at the incredible work that's been done by Dr. Masaru Emoto. So Dr. Masaru Emoto, he was an author and a scientist who spent many, many years and a lot of research in showing how human consciousness, specifically intention and emotion, how intention and emotion impacts the molecular structure of water and our external environment. So up on the screen, I've got some of the experiments that he's done, which is phenomenal. It's really, really fascinating. If you have a look at those 4 images on the left, leave the 2 on the right for now, just those 4 on the left. Those 4 images is the molecular structure of water, the exact same body of water that has been put into 4 separate containers. All right, so they took the exact same body of water, separated it into 4 containers. The one container, they gave it the intention of soft, high vibration music, specifically John Lennon's song Imagine. They literally played John Lennon's song Imagine with intention to this container of water. Second container of water, exact same water, received the intention of love. Third container received the intention, I will kill you, just to evoke that strong emotion of the fear and the anger that would come with such a gesture. And then, of course, the fourth container received the intention, thank you. And just the intention and those emotions created such a significant change in the molecular structure. They've done a similar thing with heavy metal music. Interestingly, heavy metal music looks very similar to the I will kill you, and all kinds of different emotions and intentions to show how energy is transferred through emotion and how it impacts our external environment. The 2 images on the right, that is the Fujiwara Dam in Japan. The image on the top right is the dam in its natural state, which is a little bit polluted, I would imagine, judging by that image. And then what they did was they did a meditation. A group of them did a meditation over the dam and put intention of gratitude into the water. That's all they did, nothing else. And that is how the molecular structure of the water changed after receiving meditation and prayer. This is the impact that emotion has. It's energy. It impacts the external environment. It impacts you. Another study that was done by Dr. David Hawkins. So Dr. David Hawkins, he developed the emotional frequency scale, which is an ability or a way of measuring levels of consciousness. And he did this using applied kinesiology. It's also an incredible way for us to actually see the different frequencies of emotion. So at the top there, you've got enlightenment, peace, joy. At the highest vibration, that's also where you are connected into the expanded version of yourself. You know, as I said, before our conditioning, we are connected into our superconscious state of being. There's a connection into greater awareness, greater creativity, a greater part of ourselves, of our soul and our spirit. That is the high vibration energy that we arrive with. And then as we start to suppress emotion and experience trauma and get wounded, if we're not processing those experiences and feeling those emotions properly, we start to suppress, accumulate, and lock those energies into our body, very much like those ice blocks accumulating in that flow of that crystal clear water. What happens then is you start to get pulled down in terms of your vibration. Natural flow state, beautiful flowing energy. And every time we suppress an emotion, we're locking low vibration energy into our body until eventually, after doing it enough times, we literally start to experience our reality at the level of suffering. Okay? When we are stuck in energy of shame, fear, grief, and we're not letting stuff go, if that's the vibrational state we're in, we will never be successful. We can't see straight. We can't think clearly. Our greatest solutions, our greatest level of creativity, our intuition, the power and the intelligence within the heart itself. HeartMath Institute has done the most incredible research to show how intelligent the heart is and how much of a resource it is in terms of helping us to access our genius. None of that is accessible when we are locked in and stuck at low vibration energy. What we need to start doing is we need to stop trying to solve all our problems and change everything in our life from low vibration energy. And we need to start focusing more on raising our vibration. When you wake up in the morning, what states are you in? If you wake up stressed, exhausted, anxious, depressed, if you start your day like that, that is the energy with which you are flowing into your day. You can't become successful because that is filtering through and impacting your feelings, the quality of your thinking. In fact, if you're locked down in low vibration energy, there's a really good chance you don't even want to be successful. You probably don't even want to get out of bed in the morning. All right. So it's really important that we don't spend all our energy focusing in that 5%, trying to shift everything outside of ourselves while feeling this heaviness that is actually coming from the energetic blueprint that is being impacted by all these emotions that we've suppressed. Imagine that energy, right? And you can see the actual rating on the screen. Shame is sitting as low as 20, guilt 30, apathy 50. When you lock energy into your body by suppressing emotion, there's literally a bundle of energy that's vibrating in your body. That energy is foreign to your body. It's not meant to be there because emotion is meant to flow. So if that energy is there for a prolonged period of time, it actually starts to impact the tissue around that dense energy, which starts to make you sick. Okay, the energetic imbalance is the precursor to illness and dis-ease. So you'll start to get the early warning signs: stiff joints, stiff muscles. You'll feel the tension in your body, and we typically have become quite desensitized to these early warning signs. We're just charging on and living our busy lives until eventually, if nothing is done about those energetic imbalances, they actually lead to the more serious illnesses like cancer and tumors and arthritis and all kinds of other illnesses and ailments. The other thing to be careful of course, is that if we are sitting in low vibration energy and we have been conditioned to avoid our pain, and I think a lot of the men out there have been dealt a blow in this regard because we have been raised and conditioned by our fathers who received the same messages from their fathers. Boys don't cry, toughen up, don't be a girl, don't be a wussy, don't cry, don't show your emotions. And that is the conditioning we receive. So not only are we suppressing our emotions, we're running away from them. We are running away from our pain. Running away from the pain is what leads to suffering. We have this perception that pain equals suffering. Feeling your pain will set you free. Running away from your pain is what creates suffering. Feeling your pain is temporary. Running away from your pain creates long-term suffering. For some people, it's a lifetime of suffering. So we've got to stop running away from our pain body. Running away from the pain body and trying to numb the discomfort we are feeling is very much like putting a plaster over a wound that's never healing. The pain keeps coming back And every time the pain comes back, we just stick another plaster over it. Okay. And we do this through our addictive behaviors. We get addicted to everything from drugs to alcohol to pornography to working too hard, even spirituality. There are these spiritual gurus and junkies out there who are using spirituality as escapism, avoidance. I'm not saying what they're doing isn't a good practice, but sometimes the intention behind what we do needs to be questioned, because we have an ability to get very, very busy and remain busy, distracting ourselves so that we can try and deal with the pain without actually healing it. That's the running away. And that actually ends up creating a downward spiral. Because if you don't feel good and you then make a disempowered choice looking for some kind of instant gratification or instant numbness to deal with that feeling that you're not happy with, it pretty much leads to a disempowering choice, which leads to you feeling even worse, which leads to an even worse choice, which leads to you feeling even worse. So it becomes a slippery slope very, very quickly when we are making these disempowered choices from that low vibrational state. We need to understand that if you want to become successful, and success means different things to different people. For some people, success is just having an open, abundant, loving heart and experiencing immense joy. For others, success is starting their dream business. Whatever that might be for you, you've got to focus on clearing the subconscious conditioning that we are sitting with. The subconscious conditioning that is controlling 95% of what we're trying to achieve. And like I said earlier, if we're conditioned against it, we're fighting against a tidal wave. We've got to go in there and navigate our way back up through the pain body. We literally need to sink into our discomfort and feel our feelings. We need to allow ourselves to feel our boredom. Okay? Boredom itself is a gateway. Boredom is a gateway to the deep emotions. Boredom is simply a label we give to resistance to going into our pain body. So we want to feel our way back up our pain body. Every time we feel a suppressed emotion, we are releasing resistance. That emotion is moving through us, and we then create space for your natural high vibration energy to return. Your natural flow state cannot return if there's no space for it to return to. We have to empty the cup. And we empty the cup by going back into the pain body, reconnecting with traumas and woundings that haven't yet been healed, to feel the feelings, to feel them out of our body. Because when I feel my emotion, when I feel the feelings, that is the very energy releasing out of me. Okay. Another way to support this is to let go of judgment. We need to stop judging ourselves, and we need to stop judging others. Everybody is doing the best they can with their current level of knowledge, awareness, and understanding. Everyone's doing the best they can with their current level of knowledge, awareness, and understanding, even when they're screwing everything up. Because even dysfunctional behavior comes from usually some kind of childhood wounding or an early life wounding. So even when we are hurting others and making mistakes, it's because in that moment, we just don't know a better way of dealing with it. Everybody has wounds. Nobody has faults. If you can soften your judgment and see that people are wounded when they make mistakes, don't see it as a fault. It softens the judgment, and it helps us to embrace those parts of us that are wanting to release these very emotions. Okay, there's been a lot of research done by another doctor, Dr. Milton Erickson, who is a leading psychotherapist and psychologist. And he, working with thousands and thousands of patients, he realized that every dysfunctional behavior actually has an underlying positive intention. Now, that's quite a mouthful, okay? Every dysfunctional behavior actually has a positive intention. I'm going to illustrate this for you quickly. Let's just look at two simple examples: selfish, kind, lazy, hardworking. We would naturally perceive, or maybe I could say unnaturally perceive, selfish as being a negative trait and being kind as being a positive trait. Similarly, lazy as being a negative trait or a bad quality, and hardworking as being a good quality. So we would look at selfish and go, right, selfish, unbalanced expression, thoughtless and uncaring towards others. That's what selfish is. And we would look at kind, the quality of being kind, and go, yep, balanced expression, being thoughtful and considerate towards self and others. What we need to understand is that every single quality has the ability and the potential to have a balanced and unbalanced expression. If you look at the quality of selfishness in a balanced expression, that simply means you are looking after yourself and making sure that your own needs are met while also being there for others. We can look at kindness in an unbalanced expression, always giving to everyone else at your own expense, resulting in self-neglect. Every quality has a place. When we let the judgments go, they can find their rightful place and serve us in positive ways. Lazy, hardworking, we would look at lazy and go as an unbalanced expression, procrastination, unproductive, indecisive, and hardworking, positive quality, achievement, results, success, inspiration. Again, we have balanced, unbalanced expression for every quality. Laziness gives you the gift of work-life balance, taking time to replenish your energy, increased fulfillment, and working too hard as an unbalanced expression leads to burnout, exhaustion, stress, and strained relationships. Okay, this pretty much applies to every quality. And I guarantee you, many of you are sitting there thinking of very, very challenging qualities going, there's no way this one has a positive intention or any gifts to share with me. I accept your challenge if you are challenging me. Come onto one of our workshops, come onto one of our coaching programs, and I will show you that every part of you belongs. Every part of you has gifts and something to give you. If we let the judgments go and we embrace every part of ourselves, if we can see our emotions as the messenger and we stop shooting the messenger and we simply embrace whatever's trying to show up, whatever's wanting our attention, we will then naturally return to the high vibrational flow state that is going to help us to achieve the success we are looking for, because it's always an inside-out process. We've got to clear the subconscious conditioning. And this is the work that we specialize in. We offer coaching programs. We offer rite of passage initiations for men. We offer wilderness retreats. We offer workshops to help people firstly identify and understand what their subconscious conditioning looks like, what specific limiting beliefs are sabotaging their behaviors and their outcomes. Once you've identified it, we then help you to heal it and clear it out of your energetic blueprints. And we then help you to reclaim your power, to reclaim who you actually are, and to make the kind of choices in life that get you realigned with your true purpose and your heart's true calling, abundantly, powerfully successful. That's what's possible. That's what your birthright is. You arrived here in your power with potential on a mission to achieve something in this lifetime. And somewhere along the way, many of us have gotten lost. And we're offering you that opportunity to reclaim your rightful success in the world. The last slide I want to share with you, and this slide is very similar to the slide I shared last week, simply because everything needs structure. Everything needs to be integrated into a structure. If you go on a course, a workshop, if you read an incredible self-help book, if you watch a meaningful talk, what are you doing with the information? Are you watching it as a temporary means of escapism and then slotting back into your old habits the next day? Or are you actually taking the information and turning it into a structure that will guarantee you change in your life? Okay, structure has integrity. If you look at a river and you give a river a nice structure on both sides, it strengthens the flow. strengthens the flow. Energy flows where attention goes. So in the work that we do, we give you very specific tools and techniques to create these shifts at a very deep level. But I'm going to offer you a couple of tools and tips that you can start turning into a daily structure for yourselves, a daily practice. First one, feel it, don't fix it. And I've already spoken to this. We've got to stop trying to fix our emotions through instant gratification of numbing our pain. We will never be free. We will never be free, and we will never be in our power if that is our approach. We need to have the courage and the determination and the resilience to settle into our discomfort. The second thing, stop judging, okay? The truth will set you free. Just put yourself in other people's shoes. Understand the pain that others are going through, or just imagine what pain others might be going through. The abuser has more than likely been abused. Okay, we see this time and time again in the family constellations we do, how the people who are hurting people the most were hurt the most themselves. Okay, let the judgments go. Let the love and the compassion bring the inner shifts that will lead you back to your success and your purpose. Reach for joy. This sounds like a simple statement with little impact. It's probably one of the most important things to do, is to reach for joy, because joy is energy. It's high vibration energy. And when you start making choices in your daily life, whether it's career choices or just what you're going to do today, make sure that everything you do brings joy to life, in your life. Because when you can harness the energy of joy, you are harnessing high vibration energy that draws that energy back to you. Okay, Joe Dispenza has done the most incredible work. I've only got about 2 minutes left, so I can't go into detail. But Joe Dispenza, another leading neuroscientist, has shown, he's actually been able to, they've, with the advancement of technology, they're actually now able to measure these things. And he's showing how the body is always emitting an electromagnetic signal. The mind sends out the electrical signal or frequency. The body, through the emotions, is sending out the magnetic frequency. And what his research and tests are showing is that the emotional energy we are sending out is impacting the atoms in the quantum field and creating the reality that is matching that vibration. If you simply reach for higher vibration and don't focus on just being busy all the time in your life will naturally start to change. When you're experiencing joy, you will be more creative, more intuitive, you'll be more energized, everything will start to flow. Reach for joy. Lastly, use the power of your imagination. Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge, okay? Because he understood what imagination does. Worry is a misuse of imagination. Worry is a misuse of imagination. We worry about stuff that hasn't happened because we are imagining a negative outcome. Use your imagination proactively. Go back into your childlike innocence. Play the game. Imagine how things are going to be for you. Imagine that it's already happened. Imagine that you are successful. Dress like you're successful. Talk like you're successful. Make choices like you're successful. Feel what success feels like by using your imagination. And just by playing that imagination game of imagining that you already have the things you want, you start to manifest. You start to send that vibration out, because emotion is energy. We've seen the evidence through this presentation. Emotion is impacting our external environments. Low vibration energy brings more of that low vibration energy back. High vibration energy is going to attract more of that back into your life. This is how we tune into the frequency of success. We've got to look after our energetic blueprint, and we've got to clear it out. We can help you with that. We definitely can help you with that. That's what we specialize in, all right? So I'm going to put up a call to action in a moment. For those of you who are watching this live, you can simply hit the subscribe link. This particular page is for those who are watching the recording, but I want to invite you, join us for our coaching, our workshops, wilderness retreats, rite of passage initiations. We offer something for everybody, both live and online. We're busy putting our next dates for our next retreats starting in November. So by clicking this link, the call to action is going to come up in a moment. I'm going to be offering you a free live breathwork session, conscious breathwork. It's extremely powerful. The process is an hour. I need 1 hour and 45 minutes of your time, and I will shift something for you. I'm offering you a free live online breathwork session via the link. Those watching the recording, copy paste this link into your browser and you'll get all the information you need. Those of you who are watching it live, I want to quickly bring up the call to action. Pause sharing. Let me just bring it up so that you guys can click it. There we go. Simply click on the take action button. Okay, my time is just running out. Click on the take action button. You will receive a link to your free breathwork session. You will receive 3 more links that show you a bit more about what we can do for you. Okay, we can literally help to clear up that conditioning, to reclaim your power and set you back on purpose. Okay, giving you a second chance for a new life. Okay, thank you for sharing this evening with me. It's been awesome. I've really enjoyed sharing this information with you. If you haven't watched my first talk, Reclaiming Your Genius, it is very complimentary to this one, so you can check out the recording there. My time is up. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Cobus. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone, and thank you for being in the room tonight. We just had one person that commented something and then left. And I just want to address that tonight. And thank you for those who commented. And he said we lost him, Volker, with Dr. Emoto, and then he posted the link about the Emoto as a fraud. And what I just want to say to people that's listening to this, no matter who you are, you will always find something that you don't agree with. And I say always be open-minded and learn to at least apply it yourself than to take other people's opinions about something. One thing that I've learned in my life, and like what Volker has taught to like with the water, it has changed my life. I went and applied on my water every time. I will write something on it, or I will meditate and read over the words on the water that I want in my life. And I believe small things like that had a big impact on my life. And all that I say is, take the good and the bad. You can find something that is wrong with anything. You can find we used to say in church, the Bible can show you what is right and what is wrong on everything. Okay, and it's the same thing in our life, and I think that is why this teaching forward, because we only what we apply in our life. You know, if we don't believe it that it makes a difference in us, we can teach it, and it makes. Do you agree, Volker?
Absolutely, thank you. And the last thing I want to comment on is, let's imagine for a moment Dr. Emoto is a fraud. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The information and the way our emotions impact our reality is still very valid, and we've got enough scientific evidence showing that. So thank you, Quibus. Thank you for backing that up and validating that.
Yeah, and thank you for you, and thank you for making the time. It is really an amazing. If anyone wants to reach out to Volker, please do go subscribe. And once you subscribe, he will have your details and will reach out to you. He will also send an email out to everyone, and so be connected and talk to him. And that's why we're here. We're not just here to just sell. We want to give as well. So you have our details. Come reach out to us. We're more than willing to listen to you. And who knows where that journey might lead. Volker, thank you for your time and energy. I'm hearing that you soon will be facilitating a retreat with someone online. So I'm looking forward to that. And thank you for everyone that's joined tonight. I think we probably should need to go. Yeah. But Ryan says, so you can stick I love you, I am peaceful on your water bottle, and you'll tune, where is that now? And you'll tune to that vibe. Of course, Ryan.
Absolutely.
I know, but it's just how powerful it is, because I would, you probably don't know my story, but I was in a wheelchair, couldn't walk, and I believe small changes like that changed my vibration, and I'm where I'm today, where I could climb mountains. Okay, see you 8 p.m. on Wednesday, says David. Graham says, well done. It could either, you could chat to him. Yes, thank you, Paul. Paul is working for Volker, so well done. Okay, everyone, awesome. Thank you for opening your hearts and listening to us. Volker, I love you, brother. I sent you a virtual hug, and we'll chat soon.
I look forward to giving you a real hug soon, brother. Thank you so much. Love you too.
Okay. Thank you. Love
Good
you.
night,
Bye-bye.
all. Good night. Cheers. Bye-bye.